Good morning or afternoon or evening, nighttime. I don't know. Good day thing to you if you're watching this, which I appreciate. To my 100 subscribers, I appreciate it. It doesn't seem like much due to the poor sound quality and the awful video quality and the misinformation, but I try really hard and take multiple takes, and am happy that you guys in the end are watching the videos. So I have another video, and it's about this car here. It's a 2012 Buick Regal. I just got it and it's leaving. It's gonna go away. So I figured while it's here briefly, we kind of touch on these because the concept of these cars is nothing new, but the implementation is pretty nifty. It's a little special in the fact that it is an economy car and a luxury car, but also a sports car. It's kind of like all of these things, and I think that that's pretty cool. We'll go over a little bit of history on these. The history is a little strange. Being based off of an economy car, you don't really have like that thriving following, and so there's not as much information on these out there as I would like. And also, unfortunately, a lot of the information that does exist seems to contradict itself in some areas. So while I'm talking about the car, if I make any mistakes, I apologize. I did try to do the best research that I could for this, but again, some of the stuff, it's all over the place. But again, what the concept is you take an economy car and you upscale it. And the way that the American car manufacturers generally do this is they take the base economy car and then they put a turbocharger or a supercharger on it, and usually bigger brakes, manual transmission, and sometimes they'll touch on the suspension too. And this car has all of those things. Some of the other notable cars that have been made over the years would be something like the Ford Focus ST, Dodge Neon SRT4, the Chevy Cobalt SS, and also the Saturn Ion Redline. Boop. All those cars are the same thing. They're an economy car loaded with performance stuff. And what makes them nice is they end up being really fast. The downside is they're economy cars with a bunch of performance stuff bolted on, so they tend to inherit the same problems that the base model that they came from had, and they tend not to wear very well. So you'll see them around, but they don't last for a long time because they're just not meant to, I guess. But again, this one is something pretty neat, so we'll take a look at it. Like I said, it's a 2012 Buick Regal GS, and these cars are absolutely loaded. So you can see this one has a really gorgeous pearl paint on it, and they come fully loaded, and I mean fully loaded. This thing here has every conceivable option on it that you would want on a car. So to go back to kind of like the beginning, these are based off of the Opel Insignia, which was intended to be the replacement for the Saturn Aura, but GM in 2008, because of the financial crisis and the bailout, had to get rid of Saturn. And so they decided instead to make a car basically into a Buick instead. And in 2008, these went on sale, but not in the United States. They went on sale in China, and it was in 2011 when these cars first came out for the American market. So, sorry about that. In 2012, they came out with this, the Buick Regal GS. So the 2011s, you get the CX, the CXL, which was 2.4 or 2.0 turbo all-wheel drive cars. And then in a car show, I think it was in 2011, they mocked up one of these and said, hey, you know, what if we made a sporty version of the car, and it seemed to be very popular, so they ended up producing it. And they produced these cars in the North American market from 2011 to 2017. So they were around for a little bit of time. Now what's interesting is, and this is where some of that ish information comes from, in the North American market, they sold about 170,000 Buick Regals total, not just the GS, but in all models. But in China, they sold something right around 700,000 of these cars. And as I've been led to understand, and I don't know if this is accurate or not, but Buick enjoys a status very similar to Cadillac in China. And so they're very popular cars, and they fit their market very well. So they're just killing it on sales over there. So really the sales from China were probably what kept the sales in North America rolling. And it seems like they had a factory in Shanghai that made these, and then another one in Canada that made the North American cars, as well as one in Germany that may have made European market cars, and I believe like the first model year of cars for China and everybody else. So, which would make sense. Opel, based in Germany. So the Opel Insignia becomes the Buick Regal, and then they ship it out, and once it becomes popular, they start manufacturing it elsewhere. So here's what makes this car cool. It's a Regal, and it's got the great paint, and these wheels, nah, they ain't the ones. It came with these wheels, which were much cooler. Somebody put these 20-inch wheels on there at some point, and I suppose at one point they were really nice, but now they're pretty beat up. But let's take a look inside here. So options, I hope you like them, because it has them. It's got one-touch windows, leather seating surfaces, heated seated surfaces, and buttons. Man, if you like buttons, you are gonna love this Buick. It's got all these buttons. It's got more buttons here. They put buttons here. Look at the buttons. So many buttons. You could just pop, pop, beep, boop, 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 boop. Buttons everywhere. But it's to run the features. So this thing would have, and does have, heated seats, one-touch windows, as I said, navigation, CD player, hands-free calling, push-button start, keyless entry, nice paneling and trim throughout. It's got a sunroof, Harman Kardon surround sound radio, HID headlights. It is packed. And then what makes this one more special is that it's a GS. And the GS gets you a few things. One, it's a 2.0 turbo engine, and that is good for 270 horsepower and 295 foot-pounds of torque. With those, you could get them in an automatic or a stick shift. So you can see here, this one's got the good old 6-speed transmission, and we got sport wheels too. Nice. One touch. Now, under the hood, not exactly the most impressive thing. It is an engine, and it does say turbo on it. And I don't know, somewhere in there is a turbo, and underneath there's a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine that's getting blasted by that turbo to make 270 horsepower. Now, what that comes out to is a pretty darn quick car. They were saying 6.3 seconds to 60 miles an hour and a 14.9 quarter mile, which is pretty fast. Cars weigh about 3,600 pounds. They also have a few other performance options too. So one is you can get it just peeking through here. Brembo brakes on the front, big old calipers. Starts here, ends here. Such caliper. And then somewhere in there, performance struts. So they gave it some stopping power, they gave it some going power, and what it turned out to be was a really smooth car and a really fast car. You can haul down quickly, and you can get up to speed quickly. And They're pretty nice. MSRP on one of these would be $34,835, brand new in 2012. And again, it comes with just about every single option that you can get on these cars. So that's for your luxury. And then again, for the speed, you got the 270 horsepower, plus the upgraded braking, and they return decent fuel economy. I believe it was 19 city and 25, 26 on the highway. It's not too bad. So you'd think, hey man, that's really cool. It's got everything you would want. So what happened? Well, what happened is reliability on these cars stinky. These cars in particular, the 2.0 cars, have some pretty big issues. One of which is the turbo goes bad. And I have not done a lot of research on it, but I can tell you that's a very common issue. If you go onto the forums, you'll see it all the time. Hey man, I gotta have my turbo replaced. And then another guy goes, yeah, so I did too. Okay. Bailey's gonna come visit us. Hi, sweetheart. So, another problem with these is timing chain guides. The timing chain guides go bad quick, and when they go bad, they break into pieces. And then the timing chain wants to not stay in time, and that causes a lot of engine issues. So they also have headlight issues, which again, these are HID style headlights. Pretty cool, huh? This one's been replaced, and here's what they look like when they're not. These seals go bad and moisture gets inside these headlights, and in a genius move by General Motors, the module that controls these is actually on the bottom of the headlight. So the water comes down and goes down into that module, shorts it out, and then your headlight doesn't work. And this car is no exception. This headlight doesn't work. In fact, this particular car is no exception to any of these. It has had the turbo replaced. It has had the timing chain replaced, and the cam phasers, and the balance shaft, and the tensioner, and all the things. If you go online and you read about these cars and all the very common issues, and this one is one of those cars, and it has had all of those common issues. So it gets expensive, and that's in a nutshell kind of what happens to all of the other American sport compact cars like these. Is they're really cool and they're really fast, and they're really, in the end, pretty unreliable, at least for the general driver. A lot of people will get them, soup them up, use them as a sports car, and those people that drive them very little seem to do fine.
Like what you've done with the place.
Thank you. We live in such a nice neighborhood. Anywho's, that's what it is. I thought it was pretty cool. Again, something that, well, you're not going to see that many of them because they didn't make that many of them, and especially in the States. And two, just because of what it is. It's not any one car. It's 3 cars built into one car, but still, you know what I mean. So this one, it's getting shipped out in 2 days. It's going to be gone. But again, I thought it was just something nifty to check out before we go. We'll listen to the pipes on this bad boy. It's got dual exhaust. I don't think it's true duals. It's, you know, it's exhausting. All right, well, if you watched it, I appreciate it. Thanks.